The feeling when life takes over and you get busy and maybe you don't touch a club for a few weeks, let's say 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you've got 1 week until an event that you really care about, and oh crap, how am I going to get ready for this? That's exactly what happened to me. I spent 3 weeks without seeing a golf course, and I've got USAM qualifying as you're watching this video. I will be 10 minutes into my round. So this week I've been prepping for the USAM alongside working my job and doing this stuff. So I didn't really have time to work on a video this week. I was driving home from the course today and thought, oh crap, I should probably get a video ready to go. And what a great time to talk about how to make the most out of your time and resources. So it is 10:23 p.m. on a Saturday night. Let's chat. First thing, I didn't go to the range, and I want to tell you exactly why. I've had the privilege of talking to a lot of really good mid-ams over the past couple months on the Clarity Golf podcast. If you're not following over there, please do. That would be great. A lot of them talk about playing a ton of golf, getting really good inside of 60 yards, and being able to get up and down from a trash can effectively. And so that's what I spent my time doing. I have played this week 1, 2, 3.5. I've played 63 holes this week, and I spent one evening out chipping and putting. So to the point of those incredible players, I've spent the majority of my time this week just trying to get good at scoring, because while I didn't see a golf course for 3 weeks, I was able to go and hit balls at the indoor facility here. And so I was spending time hitting balls into a net, but I wasn't spending time working on scoring. And so when I finally got the time to get back outside and play golf, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get in as many holes as possible. I get used to just trying to get the ball in the hole. And it is much harder than it feels like it should be. Now, what's been great for half of these rounds is I've had time to warm up beforehand, and I've spent that warm-up time trying to translate my practice onto the practice range and then take it directly to the course. So while I'm physically getting warmed up, I'm also trying to hit different shot shapes, and I'm trying to hit to different targets with different clubs, and that's allowing me to prepare even better for the course. And if you want 7 days of personalized practice programs built to your time and the practice facilities you have access to, you can hit the link down below and get 7 free days of the Clarity Golf app. Even if you don't use it after those 7 days, at least screenshot the plans that it gives you so you can keep using those. So like I mentioned, I didn't go beat balls or try to roll a ton of putts. Volume was not going to be the play this week leading in. And like I said, as you're watching this, I either finished my round or I'm in the middle of my round. Maybe I'll toss the live scoring link down below. But the majority of my time was spent on just trying to get the ball in the hole, because ultimately I'm not gonna be able to change my movement pattern that much this week. I have ingrained a movement pattern over the past, these 6 years of playing golf effectively. I've been playing since I was able to walk, so I guess 24 or whatever. But my goal this week was not to feel really good with the club in my hands in terms of mechanics. In all honesty, my mechanics right now probably suck a little bit. I was complaining last night when I played with some friends that it felt like I was way over the top, and I was like in these pull hooks and pull cuts, and it was just gross. But I was getting the ball in the hole at some point, and that's really the goal. And the problem is, if I took all this time that I was spending playing golf and I moved that over to a range or over to a chipping green, the stakes are significantly lower than if I'm playing in these competitions with my friends and I get one chance to pull off that shot and I'm hitting off of different lies. I'm learning that I'm airmailing greens out of the rough. Okay, I can take that into account as I go and play this qualifier. And these circle dates also don't have to be USGA qualifiers. They can be your buddy's trip at the end of the year or your club championship. It's just important to know that when the stakes are a little bit higher, if you haven't been practicing for those stakes or haven't felt even half of those stakes, it's going to be really hard to perform under pressure. Like I was saying, played with some friends last night, had a ton of fun. It came down to the last few holes. I was able to really feel something. I kept saying that after the round, man, it felt good to feel something. It felt good to feel something. That's what you want. You want to feel something when it actually doesn't matter that much, but it really feels like it matters. And that's what's going to allow you to perform under pressure. Once again, we're going to see if that actually works out on Monday. But like I said, I was hitting off of GC quad for 3 straight weeks. I knew my numbers, but I didn't really have a good feel for where I needed to be aimed or what my half shots felt like or where the ball was really starting height wise. And so getting outside, getting those feels back, that's been so crucial in my prep going into this event. So while I can tell you what to practice or how to structure your practice, I can't tell you what you're supposed to feel on the golf course. You just got to go do it. And while I had stats from earlier this year on what was really good for me and really bad for me, what those stats weren't going to tell me was how to get comfortable on the course again, or how to start hitting the ball really solid again. And while the stats are incredibly important for structuring your time when you do have that time, it really goes out the window when it comes to just getting feels back after a long layoff. And I know that sounds pretty hypocritical coming from a guy who owns a company that takes stats and turns them into practice plans, but I feel like it'd be pretty dishonest if I was to tell you that feel doesn't matter and you need to be mechanical and make all these decisions based on the numbers. You have to understand what it feels like on the golf course, what your stock shot is under pressure. And you can practice a stock shot on the range like I was a few weeks ago, hitting these low bullet cuts. But man, when it gets on a golf course, it is really uncomfy. So here's the thing. How do we make the most of our time and resources? Like I said, I'm sitting down tonight, threw together 5 notes. I've got 5 bullet points in front of me on my laptop. I've got a Diet Dr. Pepper and I've got my phone recording me. So this is me making the most of my time and my facilities. I've got a phone, I turn on this light, I turn on this little thing that you see sometimes in the background. It's just one, woo, look at that. Just for the aesthetics. We're just trying to make the most of our time and our resources. So when we get to the course, how do we do that? Think about it. Sometimes you show up to the range and maybe it's under maintenance and you can only chip and putt, or you're stopping somewhere on the way home from work and you're not really sure what the facilities look like and you've got to adjust on the fly. Even a time constraint, you've got 20 minutes before you got to go pick the kids up from soccer. If you wait for the perfect opportunity to go practice or for the perfect opportunity to shoot a low score, you never will. A little personal anecdote. Was this the perfect time for me to start a YouTube channel in the winter, to start a golf YouTube channel? Absolutely not. That's like the worst possible time to start a golf YouTube channel. But if I wait for the perfect moment to do something, I will never do it. I was actually watching The Office right before recording this, and it's the episode where Jan comes in and talks to all the ladies, and she talks to Pam about the opportunity in New York. And Pam gives all these excuses, and Jan says, Pam, there's always a ton of reasons not to do something, or something along those lines. And that really hit home for me because there were a lot of reasons for me to not sit down and record tonight. There's a lot of reasons for you to not go practice this week. You can roll putts in your office, but even then there's some good reasons not to do that. Maybe I gotta like clean up a little bit, or you're gonna make up some reason why you can't do anything. But if it's a priority and it matters to you, you will make time for it. So if you're coming off a long layoff and you've got that limited time, make the most of the facilities by leaning into the things that are feel-based. I know that's not really a statistical thing, but what I've found in coming back after this long layoff is it's been really valuable for me to go chip and get some feels going. My chipping still stinks. I still need to do some work on it, but my irons have been fine. My movement pattern didn't change much. Driver, I just had to figure out where to aim in order to hit it on the planet. But chipping and putting is where you're going to lose the majority of your feel the quickest. So spend your limited time on that if you're coming off a long layoff and you're trying to get back in the swing of things quickly. Now, if you're not really worried about getting in the swing of things quickly, order it like this. Approach play, off the tee, putting, and chipping, and match the facilities to those categories. Those categories are backed up by strokes gained. I won't get too into that. I've made a ton of videos on that. It'll probably be linked at the end of this video. Overall thesis of today's video is that I told myself I was going to put a video out every single week. And this isn't ideal conditions. I had very little prep time because I was very busy this week. I have just a phone. I have this light here, got that light there. I've got my laptop with 5 points on it. This is significantly lower budget, if you will, of resources than I've had in previous videos. Normally I'm got a script on Monday. Normally I'm done with the video effectively on Monday, and I spend the rest of the week editing in the evenings and I can get it super dialed in. That's just not the case this week. I just did not have the time. And you probably don't have the time to go do as much practice as you want to next week. That doesn't mean you can't get it done. Roll some putts in your office. Hit some chips in the backyard. Spend 20 minutes at the range, even if it's just with a small bucket, because you'll probably get more out of that small bucket than you will out of doing nothing. Something is always better than nothing. And I truly believe that if you utilize those structured practice plans that I said were going to be down below, I'm going to link some free resources down below as well on top of the app. I promise if you utilize the resources down below, you will get better. A great example of this is a user who started with the app back in October as one of our first 10 testers. He was a 12 handicap not too long ago, and he shot 78 the other day at Springfield Country Club, where they're hosting the US Open qualifier. That's Springfield Country Club. He is playing really good golf. He's getting so much better and so much more comfortable on the course. So utilize the time and the resources that you already have. Yes, it's going to take effort. Effort is a compounding thing. If you just do it over and over and over again a little bit, it's way better than putting in a ton of effort once a week. So go get after it this week. I believe you can do it. I'm going to link a video here somewhere. Thanks for listening to this absolute rant. Go download everything down below. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you next week with a much more structured video. So subscribe and stay tuned for that one.